Oh, there it is. Okay.
Oh, so we're doing the slideshow for a minute?
Should I wait a few minutes?
I can't do anything about it.
Can we see the people who are participating in this party? Like, or even a list of people? No?
I don't think so, unless.
Oh. Welcome, everyone. We're so happy you could join us tonight to celebrate the launch of Live Life Deliciously, the gorgeous, delicious debut cookbook from Tara Bench, aka Tara Teaspoon. Throughout the evening, we'll be giving away lots of tasty treats and great books and wonderful kitchen accessories and classes. Those include a beautiful set of books by Shadow Mountain Publishers, a big bouquet of flowers from Teleflora, copper kettles, classes, cheese platters, flowers, so stick around. I want to thank Teleflora, Tillamook, Palms Wonderful, Shadow Mountain, Hefton, and Adams Cutting Boards. I especially want to thank the beautiful Courtney Rich for her generosity. Courtney will be leading the conversation with Tara, what I know is going to be a very lively conversation. In case you don't know Courtney, she's the totally enchanting and lovely force behind Cake by Courtney, a mouth-watering baking blog turned brand that encompasses a product line, classes, and a new podcast. So tune in. Courtney will tell you where. Before launching her brand, Courtney worked as a television consulting firm where she spent 13 years as a focus group moderator. We're so happy to have you moderating tonight, Courtney. Thank you, and take it away.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And Tara, can we just, I want to like clap and I want to scream and jump. This is huge. You have a cookbook.
Thanks. Let's hold it up together. Yay. It's awesome.
This is huge. And I know everyone on the other side of the screen is clapping along with me because we are so proud of you. We are so excited. Guys, can I just say real quick, I have been diving through this cookbook all weekend long, picking out the recipes I'm so excited about. I've already made the chicken biscuit sandwiches, the pulled pork with the coconut rice and the grilled pineapple. And my family was like asking for seconds and thirds. It's been amazing already. All right, Tara, we have a ton to talk about because I have so many questions for you. I know our audience is going to have questions as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you guys have questions, just pop them into the comments box. We will get to them towards the end of the evening. So don't feel like we're missing you. We're just going to wait kind of towards the end because we have so many fun giveaways and so much to talk about as we celebrate Tara's first cookbook. So one of my first questions, Tara, as I was looking through this is what inspired Live Life Deliciously in all of these recipes in this book?
Oh, that's a big question. Can we take one recipe at a time?
Please, I would actually love that.
What inspired it? You know, I always thought, oh, it would be so fun to write a cookbook. And people have asked me that for most of my career. You know, when are you going to write a cookbook? Are you going to? And it just, the time wasn't right until this hit. And I was so happy it did. And the stars aligned.
Yes.
And I was able to start putting together this cookbook. And I thought my whole career inspired it, really. My whole life. I grew up cooking at the side of my mom and loving it, enjoying being in the kitchen and making things for other people. And so I made a career out of it. And all of that came together in this cookbook, really.
Oh, I feel like there's so many different, just like amazing recipes. I mean, we're going from like starters and salads and dressings and main dishes. There's so much. How many recipes are in here?
There's a little over 120, just over 120. And I had to narrow it down. I had to cut a lot, you know, but it's a good amount.
It's a good amount. Do you have a favorite recipe in here or a couple that like are standouts for you?
There are definitely standouts. And honestly, when I get asked what my favorite food is or what my favorite recipe is, it's always changing. That's the truth. So honestly, it changes with the seasons. It changes with whatever. I mean, there's heartfelt ones. I just feel like you can never be unhappy if you have a chocolate chip cookie in your hand. So I had to put one of those recipes in my book. And I mean, there's tacos and pastas and dips and just all my favorite foods, really. I really can't narrow it down.
And they're all my favorites. As I was going through it, and my mom and she was here this weekend. It was literally like you turn the page. Oh, that looks so good. Oh, but what about the corn succotash? Oh, that looks so good. And what about there's a Thai peanut sauce and salad, and I was marking that one. And I feel like as readers go through this cookbook, they're going to be feeling the same way because nothing felt intimidating, which I really appreciated. And everything felt like, okay, I can put this together and I'm busy working mom and running the kids around. And even in the last 2 days, it's like, oh, all I have to do for that carnitas I made today, mix a few things for the marinade and then cook it in the slow cooker. And it was ready in no time by the time I needed to dish it up. So I love how accessible these recipes are.
Well, you bring up a good point because I mean, you cook in a way, you bake and you cook for a family, but you kind of have that mindset of, okay, here's what I need to prep ahead. Here's what I can keep in the fridge. Here's, you know, and that is really helpful. And I think I tried to put in tips and write that into the recipes so that people knew how to make it easy. And I think that's the only way you like cooking, right? Is if you know what you can do ahead.
And you don't want it to be stressful. And so, you know, you look through the recipe, what ingredients do I need? But look through the instructions and decide, well, how much time is this going to take? And do I need to start something really quickly at 11 o'clock in the morning? But I wanted to show you guys a ton of the pages. Oh my gosh. Okay. Opposite way. Have Tara's tips in the book. And I love that element because it's just like one extra little thing from our friend Tara as she's cooking alongside, or we're cooking alongside with you. And so those little just great aspects. And I love also, can I just point out, and then we're going to get to our first giveaway, like the bottom of every page, you have this section called Looks Delicious. And to me, that seems like how you played it, right? Kind of the styling.
A lot of them are, yeah. I was packing in information, right? On the side, on the bottom, everywhere I could. As many tips as I could. And yes, it's sort of something that will help it look good or make you successful.
I love that. And that's going to tie us into my next question in just a minute about your job with Martha Stewart. So we'll get there. But Dee Dee, I think we have our first one or two giveaways.
We do indeed. So the first giveaway is the Dragon Watch series, an epic fantasy filled with dragons, royalty, and magic that will captivate readers. The winner will get a set to read and catch up before they get the new book out October 13th. And the winner is Kathy Uligia. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. Oops, sorry. It's the winner is actually Julia Andert. Sorry about that, Kathy. You definitely are getting a prize, though. All right.
Yes. Okay. Amazing. Thank you. Tara, I'm so intrigued because you grew up or lived in Utah. Where did you grow up? I know you went to school in Utah, right? College?
I went to college in Utah. I grew up in Utah. We lived overseas when I was young, but mostly Utah. Went to high school in Arizona, in Mesa, Arizona. Anyone from Arizona?
Yeah.
So yeah, all over, and now I'm in New York.
Okay, so how did you land yourself in New York after being on the West Coast? And specifically, how did you land a job at Martha Stewart, which I feel like is so many of our dream jobs?
I'll encapsulate the story. It was an exciting time. I was graduating from college, and I had switched colleges mid-education to major in culinary arts and also journalism. I minored in journalism. So I was sort of putting the pieces together in school, but I didn't know what I was going to do. I loved cooking. I wanted this degree. I didn't want to just go to cooking school. So I ended up having to do an internship to get my diploma. So I ended up calling almost every magazine in the country with food in it and saying, can I do an internship in your test kitchen? Meanwhile, I didn't even know what a test kitchen was. And I just knew I wanted to cook. I wanted to make the food in magazines. And the food director at Martha Stewart was the first one that said, sure, come and interview. Long story short, I interviewed in New York. I came out, cooked for her. And that was the first time I saw Martha. You can imagine, I walk into the offices. Let's see, I was 21 and had never been to New York. So I was already overwhelmed. And I walked down the stairs on my way to the test kitchen. And there's Martha. I'm 5'2", if that. And she's about 6 feet tall. So I remember walking down the stairs and walking by her. So that made me really nervous for my cooking interview. But I ended up getting an internship at Martha Stewart in the test kitchens, and they hired me. So I stayed there, worked my way up, and was food editor. So it was super exciting.
I have to know, what did you make Martha Stewart your first time cooking for her?
So I prepared with my chefs at cooking school. And so we came up with this, and this was 20 something years ago. We came up with a very gourmet meal, 3-course menu that you would probably find in a restaurant. And I thought I was this great cook. I'd just been through cooking school, and it kind of fell flat. I think I made some glazed salmon and like taro root side dish and something fancy. I don't even remember all the fancy details, but I had enough skill that they were like, okay, you can be an intern.
Yeah, we can trust you with the knife in the kitchen.
Right.
That's so amazing. So you get this job, you work your way up. to food editor. What was a day in the life of Tara at that point like, working for Martha Stewart?
You know, it changed. I started at Martha when the company wasn't even public yet. And so business changed as the IPO happened and her business grew. I was able to grow and learn with that. So anything from, we would go grocery shopping in the morning as editors at the magazine, get our ingredients and head into the test kitchen and create recipes, develop recipes, test them. Every few weeks you'd go on a photo shoot. And so you'd have to prepare for the photo shoot. And then you were styling food for the camera. So I learned food styling and I made that part of my career later on. So every day was different. Sometimes I was at my desk writing the recipes and answering comments and things like that. So, yeah.
Did you have a favorite part of all of that? Because you kind of were a Jane of all trades while you were there.
I can't pick favorites. I love the mix. I've always loved being able to work in a test kitchen and have a desk job. It's the best of both worlds. So I just loved every aspect, and mostly working with such talented people, from the prop stylist to the garden editor to the, art directors. Everyone was just so talented, and that was the fun part.
What were some of the big things? I mean, being your first career, and that was a big brand and a big name to work with right out of college. What were some of the things you learned, kind of maybe even the most important, like life lessons or career lessons you learned while you were working there?
Let's see. I learned how, this is maybe too public a form. I learned what kind of a boss I didn't want to be. I worked with some of the most amazing, talented people in the industry, and they were all, it was hard. It was political. We were just creative people all in the same place. And so I took that away professionally, is, hey, this is sort of how I want to structure a business if I ever have one. And so now I'm able to do that. And I loved learning those lessons. I learned good things and hard things. Let's see, from Martha herself, I remember her coming into the test kitchen one time when I was creating a story on tea sandwiches, very fancy. This was many years ago. And she saw that I was putting pesto on one of these sandwiches. I was creating all different flavors. And she said, "You don't put pesto on a tea sandwich?" I remember her teaching me that. However, that pesto tea sandwich made it into the magazine.
Oh, good, good.
It was so fun. She was always in the test kitchen, always, inviting us to learn from her and be around her. And it was awesome.
What was the hardest thing about that job?
The hardest thing. I think just the learning curve. I was right out of college and thrown into this amazing experience. And I think it was hard learning all of that, the ropes right away.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. Okay. Quick break. We got another giveaway. Dee Dee?
Okay. The next giveaway is another one from Shadow Mountain Publishers. They're so generous. And just wait until you see how generous they are, because there's another pretty major gift. This time it is a series of 6 romance novels. These are clean, smart, and engaging with devastatingly handsome heroes. And I think you're gonna just love them. And we also have a cookbook from Tara's dear friend, Cade and Carrie Ann from Oh Sweet Basil. The cookbook has over 100 recipes combining their love of fresh produce and wonderful flavor. Their second cookbook is coming out soon, so keep your eyes open for it. So the romance novels go to Kathy Uligia, and the cookbook goes to Elisa Uloa. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Elisa. So congratulations, ladies. And I'll kick it back to you, Courtney.
Thank you. All right. That is so fun. I'm loving these giveaways. We have a lot more, so don't go anywhere because I think we had like 14 things total that we're giving away in just the hour that we're together. All right. So Tara, after Martha Stewart, you went on to be the food director for Ladies Home Journal, which is one of the oldest women's publications in our country. That's pretty cool. That's another big name.
I loved it. I loved it there. I'm a sentimental person anyway, and I just loved the history of that magazine. We had the archives of the magazines at our office, and you could find me down in the archive library thumbing through those turn of the century magazines. I loved it. But really, I was able to reach a completely different audience and create recipes for a completely different audience. And it was fantastic.
That is so fun. I have lately, as of May of this year, gotten into vintage cookbooks. And even, okay, I have to tell you real quick, one of your pages in your cookbook, I just had to laugh because, so I got vintage cookbooks as a gift for my birthday in May, and it has set me on like this whole new love affair with vintage recipes. Yes. And so I loved this, by the way, and I was like, oh, I've got that one in my kitchen right now, and I was like pointing out, I think I've got one of these other ones, and it's so fun to go back to these recipes from the early 1900s. I know Ladies Home Journal has recipes from the 1800s, which, okay, I'm kind of like, I'm actually very jealous right now. I'm thinking of you in the archives there, looking at those recipes. So as you were, because I would just be like so head deep in that if I was you, were there like major differences between the 1800s, the 1900s, and what we're doing now as you're looking through all of those recipes? Is there a different way of cooking back then? Because I've noticed some differences. I'm curious, you've been able to look through a lot more recipes than I have. What are some of the comparisons there?
Oh, so much, right? And you see a lot of the baking ones, and I've loved watching your journey in cooking some of these vintage recipes. It's been so fun. Yes, I think it was a different way of cooking, shopping, living. I mean, think about it. They didn't have refrigerators. What I found fascinating was that the very first issues of the magazine for many years were telling women how to cook as if they had a servant cooking for them. So here's how you tell your servant to make this dinner for you. Because a lot of people that were affluent had, people working for them. And then I loved as, you got into the early part of the century and there were appliances and electricity. And I mean, even seeing how the recipes changed when the food processor and the microwave came, into being. And I think we're going through that now. Can you imagine? It was a handful of years ago, the Instant Pot happened to our lives, right? And so recipes become very different. Ingredients are so different. Accessibility is so different. And yeah, I just love it.
I also love that it becomes a little bit of a history lesson too, as you start to understand why they were using margarine more than butter, or why they were using Coca-Cola instead of actual sugar during certain times, right? And then all of a sudden we've got the chocolate cola cake, and there's reasons, and it's like this whole history lesson.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, let's actually, before we do another giveaway, when the publication published their last magazine, it was 2016, right? Or a little bit before that?
A little bit before that, yep.
Yeah, and so that was the time that you decided to venture out on your own and start Tara Teaspoon. Tell us a little bit about that transition. What was that like, and kind of what inspired that change for you?
Well, in between all of my jobs at magazines, I've loved consulting and doing freelance food styling and working with all different brands and companies. And so I started doing that again when Ladies Home Journal closed. I loved it. It was what I wanted to do. And I realized, but I still want to share my recipes with people. And so long story short, I created the website. And if you can imagine, when bloggers weren't everywhere, I didn't think of myself as a blogger. I was putting recipes on a website. I wasn't writing stories or anything like that. And I just morphed into it. And I had a friend who, my friend Melanie, she's here with me tonight. She sort of enlightened me to the world of blogging, and then it could be a business. And that if I shared my recipes the right way, more people would see them. And so that's when I started Terra Teaspoon and started the brand. And really it was to get my recipes into the hands of people so they could make them.
Yeah. What have you learned over the years? You know, I feel like for me, there were so many things I wasn't quite aware of when I first started blogging, and you just learn as you go. What were some of those things for you that, you know, looking back, you wish you would have known maybe at the beginning when you started blogging and sharing your recipes and doing your own food styling and photography?
Everything. Everything, right? I wish I knew all of that before. When I was an editor at magazines, we had a web department. I was in publishing, so I didn't deal with anything web, let alone like Pinterest, nothing. And so I really was learning everything from scratch. And now I know what SEO is, and I can throw out terms that I never even knew 8 years ago. So, you know, I wish I knew so much, but I don't think that is how you get to where you get, right? You're learning always, and you're exploring and trying and failing and doing it again.
Absolutely. And I think it speaks to the fact that you don't need to know everything before you start, whether that's blogging, or maybe you want to write a book or start doing photography, or whatever the skill or hobby it is. You don't need to know everything to get started. Just get started. And I love that about what you did.
Or cooking, right? I think you're exactly right. I don't think you need to feel like you're a beginner or an expert to pick up a cookbook, to pick up my cookbook and start cooking out of it. You just start somewhere.
Got to start somewhere. You've got to be okay with maybe making a mistake here and there and not doing it perfectly. But you've done such a great job with really clear, precise instructions. It doesn't feel overwhelming. Like I said earlier, as I just go through, it's super easy to understand. And I think there's a lot of recipes in your book that I would say are beginner recipes, and maybe some that are a little bit more intermediate. So as you go through it, start with the recipes as the reader that look like something you can handle. You know, don't intimidate you. You want something, I always tell people, that you're excited about. Because no matter what, you're going to be pumped about eating the delicious food, no matter how it looks, right?
Exactly. And be inspired by the pictures. That's why I put a picture with every recipe.
Yes.
To make you want to cook it.
I love that. I love a picture with every recipe. I collect cookbooks, and I always get inspired by so many of my foodie friends like you, Tara, and I have always been one to say, oh, there's got to be a picture with every recipe. So I know what I'm baking or what I'm cooking. Okay, let's do maybe another 1 or 2 giveaways, Judy.
I'm going to do 5 giveaways this time.
Oh, 5.
Speed things up. Okay, the 4th giveaway is a Heston Copper Bond 3.5 quart essential pan, and it's beautiful. It's handmade in Italy. It's from the Heston collection. It's not only beautiful, but durable. What a gorgeous pan. This essential pan can be used like a saucier. The round bottom makes stirring and whisking much easier. So the winner of the Copper Bond saucier is Heather Adams. Congratulations, Heather. The next giveaway is a beautiful Teleflora bouquet. Gift yourself or someone special a gorgeous Teleflora bouquet with your free flower gift code. They're so beautiful and such a special delivery. And this is going to Lisa Hansen. Congratulations, Lisa. I have a few more giveaways. The next one is Adam's cutting boards. These are walnut cutting boards. There's a 7-inch cutting board and an 11-inch cutting board. They're gorgeous. They're reversible. They have sloped handles, and they're lovely. So the first winner is Brittany Kajar. Congratulations, Brittany. And the next winner of the 11-inch cutting board is Diana James. Congratulations. One more giveaway is a tagine pan, and this is from Emile Henry. Oh, sorry, wait a second. Oh, nope, there it is. The tagine is going to Hannah Taylor. Congratulations, Hannah. And should I tell? So a tagine is a North African cookware traditionally made of clay or ceramic. The bottom is wide, shallow circular dish, while the top of the tagine is distinctly shaped into a rounded dome or cone. The purpose of the cone-shaped top is to return moisture to the base of the tagine, creating a moist and flavorful dish. So congratulations, Amber. And Courtney, back to you.
Thank you. And it looks like we might have a little bit of a mix up on some of the names, but we'll get it sorted out at the end. So no stress. You guys, thanks for being here. We are going through Tara's cookbook. We are talking about her career. I want to go back even before that, and I want to talk about your mom, because you dedicate this book to your mom, and you thank her for teaching you how to cook and how to share food with love and enjoyment. And I think there's so many of us, I know I can relate to that because I grew up cooking with my mom, just like you. I'd love to hear about that experience for you, growing up, being in the kitchen with your mom, and how she taught you and some of the things she taught you.
Thanks. It's so special to be able to dedicate the book to my mom. She was a huge part of the book. She's been a huge part of my career, learning to cook. I started to cook with her when I was too little to even stand at the counter. She would put me up on the counter and I'd help her stir and cook. And, she'd help me cook in my easy bake oven until I graduated to the regular oven. So I was with her in the kitchen all the time and I loved it. And I think that's because she enjoyed it. Even when it was a stressful weeknight getting dinner on the table, she always had all the food put into dishes and beautifully placed on the table and wanted us to enjoy meals and wanted them to be beautiful. She's such a gracious cook. And she just imparted that enjoyment of cooking in me. And I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah. And it's definitely a place of memories, right? I feel like there's so many good, fun memories. And I mean, what's not to love and be happy when you're in the kitchen baking with family, and especially with our moms and with our friends, girlfriends, sisters, right?
Yeah, that's what I want this book to do. Once we could start gathering together again, I want people to collect themselves in the kitchen and enjoy being together there.
Do you have a favorite dish that your mom used to make for you growing up?
Oh, again, with the favorites, I can't decide.
No,
There are sentimental ones, there are memorable ones. There are, certain Christmas cookies that we still request from her. There's those homey, comforting meals, maybe a roast with a milk gravy or something like that are just comforting and yummy, and she knows how to do them perfectly. So lots of them.
Oh, I love that. So many good memories. And are there any recipes that are specifically like in the cookbook that are specific to some of the things you grew up with and inspired by your childhood and your mom's dishes?
Definitely. So the vanilla pound cake in the book is hers. I only changed the flavor a little bit.
Okay, I've never seen that one. Keep talking. Yeah, I'm going to find it.
Okay, good. And the vanilla pudding. I put those in because one of my favorite things she used to make is so simple. It was cake with warm vanilla pudding on it. And so I had to put that in. It just seemed so my mom. She also, this isn't her recipe, but my mom loves Mexican food. And so the tacos are one of her favorite recipes that I make. And so they went in the book.
Love that.
Yeah. And then going even back further, both my grandmothers were amazing cooks. And I definitely suggest everyone try the whole wheat pancakes.
Oh, I saw those. They look so good.
That was a recipe from my grandmother, my mom's mom. And I remember, yes, going to her house, and whenever you'd visit grandma's house, you'd hear the blender mixing up that whole wheat, and you'd know you were getting.
Yes.
Loved it.
We were talking about that, my mom and I, with my grandma, her mom. She would do the same thing, and it was so loud, grinding up her own wheat, but the flavor and the texture of her pancakes with that like freshly ground wheat was memorable, so memorable, and just, oh my gosh, there's nothing like it, don't you think?
Exactly. So yeah, so sentimental. So there's such a mix in here of sentimental and then recipes that are how I cook now, using unique ingredients and things, that I keep in the pantry now that are global flavors. We're all cooking curries now and with different sauces. So it's a huge mix.
I love that. I feel like there's something for everyone in here. I've got to show our gang. This was the pound cake, right?
Yes.
And I love how food can be so nostalgic, and you've got your classic vanilla pudding in here, because I remember we would make with my grandma a homemade chocolate pudding, but we would pour it over like ice cream. And I was like, we're putting pudding over ice, but it was like fudge. Anyway, it was just, it resonates so much with me. And I feel like the readers are just going to fall in love with these recipes because, like I said, there's a little something for everyone, but I feel like you're going to connect with the recipes and the flavors on a very personal level because, they come from your childhood, which sounds like, is very Americana.
Yeah, it was. And then my experiences of moving to New York and even living overseas, just exploring all new flavors. I think all of that came together in this book.
Where did you live when you were overseas?
We were in Saudi Arabia for 2 years.
Oh,
and I was young. I was kindergarten age. So, I tell people I remember however much you remember when you were in kindergarten, that's what I remember. But I do remember exploring the food markets with the family and the crazy smells and sights and all of that. And it just, obviously made an impression on my life.
How has living in New York changed or helped you maybe the evolution of your cooking? Because New York is such a foodie city, and I go there and I'm going for work, but I'm really going for food.
Right. I mean, I stay here for food, so I get it.
Right?
I mean, how could I ever leave? You know this because you are in Utah now, and even 20, 25, 30 years ago, it's just wherever you go in the country, there's those pockets of different food cultures and things like that. And so, yes, I grew up eating certain foods and having access to only certain restaurants. And so I remember having my first pork bun in a tiny little Chinese restaurant in Queens, New York. And just those food experiences that I didn't grow up with were so great. And just the new taste and the fancy restaurants, going to 5-star restaurants and saying, oh my goodness, how could I recreate this at home? I love this flavor. I love what they've done and simplifying it for people at home. And so, I mean, in every way, living in New York and eating out in New York and exploring New York food has totally played into this book.
There's so many options. Oh gosh, I wish I was there with you right now.
Come visit.
Oh, there's so much good food out there. Okay, I just want to check. Do we have any giveaways we're doing right now? There's a whole shot going on over here.
We do, and I want to apologize for confusing these giveaways, so hopefully I can keep things straight going forward. So the next giveaway are 2 deliveries of pom-poms, fresh pomegranate reels, and the winner gets 2 shipments right to their door. It's like an entire autumn's worth of tasty fruit. Pom-poms makes enjoying pomegranates easier than ever because they come in individual, ready-to-eat cups. And the winner is Hannah Taylor. Congratulations, Hannah. The next giveaway is something that's quite exciting. It's from the very generous publisher of Live Life Deliciously, Shadow Mountain. And they are excited for you to start cooking from Live Life Deliciously. And they're giving one lucky winner a $400 Visa gift card. Of course, you don't have to spend it on groceries. The winner is, drum roll, please, Paul Friedman. Major congratulations, Paul. Then the next giveaway, we have 2 winners, and those are very lucky winners. Those are 2 virtual cooking classes with the one and only Courtney Rich of Cake by Courtney. And our 2 winners are Judy Cox and Janet McCracken. Congratulations, ladies, and enjoy your classes with Courtney.
Yay! So fun, you guys. I'm a little jealous of some of them too. Those are too fun. Okay, Tara, you have been a food stylist. You are a recipe developer. Can you give us a little kind of behind the scenes, like what goes into that? What are maybe some of your tips for food styling and recipe developing?
Good question. I think about how food looks the very second I start creating a recipe. And so it's totally important to me. Granted, my food at home doesn't always look good. It doesn't always look like a photograph. So that is a huge point to make. I mean, every meal, every recipe I make does not look like the picture. But I think about it, and I want you to get as close to that as possible, because we eat with our eyes. We all know that.
Yeah.
If something looks good, we want to eat it. If something looks awesome, we really want to eat it. Right? So I think it has to do with thinking about it from the beginning. What dish are you going to put this in? Don't think about that at the last minute, and then it ruins the look of it, right? Do you have fresh herbs? Can you throw some fresh herbs on top of something that you normally wouldn't? That brightens it. It adds a pop of color, a little contrast, and your eyes see that. So things like that. It's how do you serve this? Do you have a serving dish that you can put in the oven, and then you get those crispy edges, and so it looks really delicious when you pull it out of the oven and serve it? All of those things come together in how your food looks.
Oh, well, you're making me hungry right now, especially because I have your cupcakes sitting right in front of me. Look, oh, those look delicious.
So do I. We're eating them tonight. So I've made them. And yeah, if we have time, I can show people how to do a chrysanthemum.
Oh, I think we've got like at least 5 minutes. Will you give us a little demo? That would be so fun.
Let's do it. I'd love it, because this, I really did put it in the magazine saying, hey, I know everyone does not know how to use a piping bag and doesn't pipe all the time, but it's inspiration for getting creative. And if you have a blank canvas on a cupcake, you know exactly what that feels like, having a blank cake to work with. What am I going to do? How am I going to make this so beautiful? So anyway, I love piping flowers with buttercream. And I usually use a Swiss meringue buttercream, although I love a powdered sugar buttercream too. They're a little stiffer and they're shape, right? You know that.
Yeah.
You pipe all different things. So I start by frosting my cupcake, just plain. And then I use what's called a notched V tip. And you can kind of see that. It's a little V.
Okay.
And that's what I use to make my leaves. And so I just pipe a few little leaves.
Yes. We're doing these leaves right here.
Yes, thanks. It's in the dessert section. And it doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
And then what I do is I will use, you can use a plain tip or what's called the coupler. And it's that plain hole in your piping bag, and you pipe a little stem, like, what's it called? A base, not a stem.
Okay.
So
are we working off of that center then from here on out?
Yes, that's going to hold your chrysanthemum flower. So we're going to get to this. So all of that structure, all of that 3D-ness, we're going to put around that. So then I will put my tip back on. This is a number 79 or 80.
Okay. And you have in the cookbook all of those tips that you're using are written in the cookbook, you guys.
They are. I'm getting really close to the screen and scaring everyone. Okay, so I hold that as a smiley face so that it's the U shape looks like a U, and you hold that next to the cupcake and you start to, yes, you can see it. You can see it. And
you can. Texture.
I'm doing this fast, but you anchor that little petal to that base and you just spin the cupcake around and make all of your petals. And you can pipe right over those leaves because your flower is sitting on the leaf. And then you move up and you start doing another layer on top of those petals. And as you move up and anchor those petals to that base that you created, then you start to make them shorter and come up a little more so that you create that 3D look.
Look at that dimension. That is gorgeous.
So as I come in here in the center, there I go.
Yeah.
How do you do this? I get really tiny little petals in the center.
Yeah.
And then I like to just put a cute little contrasting color center of that flower. And I feel like that's just that special touch. And I have this golden yellow. And I just put 3 little dots right in the center.
Oh, that's so cute.
A beautiful cupcake. So lots of things you can do. I also have like a regular petal tip and you can make daisies and all of that jazz. So just have fun with it.
Exactly, right? Whatever tips you have, or even if you just have an icing spatula, you throw the buttercream on there. But that looks easy. I feel like I don't feel intimidated by that.
Good. Honestly, it takes practice. And I'll tell you a really quick story about how I learned to pipe flowers on cupcakes is I was so lucky to get assigned a story on piping flowers on cake at Martha Stewart. And this was a long, long time ago. And when we developed stories and recipes at Martha, we were given almost unlimited budget and time to make the perfect recipe of whatever we were making. And so I remember I had about 3 or 4 weeks to work on this story. And I spent those 3 or 4 weeks of work, a whole month, going into work every day, putting my buttercream in bags and practicing piping flowers so that I could teach people in the magazine the easiest way to make beautiful flowers. So I was teaching myself so that I could teach others. And it just became a skill because I did it every day for a month.
That's amazing. It's basically like your own little school for buttercream flowers. I love sharing all of this. I mean, there's nothing you're holding back. It's if Tara can do it, you can do it. I can do it. Exactly. Why is that important to you to share all of this and to share your knowledge with the rest of us?
What was that?
Why is it important to you to share all of this? And to have the cookbook. I mean, sometimes you see people that they've got their favorite recipes, but maybe they're not going to hand them off to others.
Oh my gosh, isn't that true? So true. And what's important, it's really selfish. I love seeing people happy with food. Right?
That's a good selfish. That is a good selfish.
Right. So, I mean, you know the feeling because you make cake and you give cake to people. And anyone who's gone to your classes or followed your recipes, cake brings happiness. Food brings happiness. It's that sharing, and I love seeing that happen. And so that's really my passion, is to see that happen.
And it comes through in your book, and I love that so much. You just feel joy and you feel excited to tackle these recipes and then to share them because you know they're going to bring other people so much happiness. All right. We only have about 10 minutes left. I think we have a few more giveaways, and then I would love to take any questions from our audience so that they can have those answered from you as well. And if there's any we don't get to tonight, Tara's going to spend the next couple days trying to answer those personally.
All the days, yes.
All right, so Dee Dee, giveaways.
Yes. Okay, so our next giveaway is a beautiful gift basket from Tillamook, and Tillamook is a farm-owned dairy co-op from Oregon. They've been around for 111 years, and you probably already love their ice cream. You're winning a mailed box of their super selection a mix of cheeses, shreds, blocks. You're winning cream cheese, butter, and more, plus some fun Tillamook kitchen tools. So the winner is Whitney Klump. Congratulations, Whitney. Okay, terrific. And then we have another prize. It is a cooking class with none other than Tara Teaspoon. We all love Tara's cookbook, and this winner will have the chance to have Tara join them in the kitchen, virtually that is, with 10 of your closest friends. And I'm going to wait for the winner's name to show up on screen. Ryan Nord. Congratulations, Ryan. That's a great gift. Perfect timing for the holidays. And I'm kicking it back to you, Courtney and Tara.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go through comments and pull some of the questions. One of them that I just saw, Tara, was how has your personal palate changed over the years? As you know, starting out as a new chef for Martha Stewart, now however many years later, what's changed in your palate a little bit?
Well, that's a good question, and it makes me do a little truth or dare. I'm going to do a truth. I am the best cook you have ever known.
What?
Yes, anyone who knows me and knows my food preferences is laughing right now. There are so many things, so many foods that I don't like, that I don't eat, but I still love cooking them. So that's a little, yes. I definitely have broadened my palate over the many years of being in the food industry and making it my career, but I'm still a picky cook.
Okay, what's one thing that you don't like eating? I mean, give me some deets here. I'm a no mushroom girl.
Okay, and I can do mushrooms, but I don't love them either.
Okay,
although I have most of the foods I don't like are in the book, so I'm not going to tell you not to make it because it's actually delicious. But I don't like eggs. I don't like shrimp. Actually, there's no shrimp in the cookbook because
I don't know. I'm going to confess one to you. I don't like white potatoes of any kind.
Wait, you like sweet potatoes though?
I will like sweet potatoes, and I've made cakes out of sweet potatoes. But no regular potatoes. I don't, can't do it.
Yeah. Oh, one of my bosses, Susan Sugarman at Martha Stewart, she used to say, Tara, how can you develop recipes when you're so picky? She would get so frustrated, but hey, I can throw together a mean omelet and I don't eat it.
Oh my God, I love eggs. So that one's a hard one for me. Okay, here's a question. Main problem is heat. And I think this one is related to the buttercream that you were working with. My hands are hot and the frosting begins to melt before I get very far. Do you have any suggestions on how to keep the frosting at the right temperature for piping?
I think you and I both should give some tips here, right? I think there's a lot of ways. With Swiss meringue buttercream and others, you don't want to chill it in the bag because it will be too hard to pipe. So chill your hand. Have some ice water. Literally, have a bowl of ice water. Stick your hand in the ice water, dry it off, and use it. And you can do that as many times as you want.
That's a great idea. The other one I do sometimes is I'll have multiple piping bags of the same color so that I can use it for a minute, set it down so it's just not against my warm hand. I have put mine in the fridge for like 5 minutes at a time, but you've got to be so careful because the buttercream will set really quickly. I love the ice tip.
Yeah, and if you put this whole thing in the fridge, even for like 2 minutes, the metal gets colder than the frosting, and then all your frosting's stuck in here cold.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yes.
And that's
right? It can be a nightmare. Any kind of odd flavor combinations in the cookbook?
Odd flavor combinations.
Let's open it up together, shall we?
I'm looking. I hope there's not any odd ones.
Do you know which ones I'm trying to try too? Are the garlic lime carnitas tachos. This reminds me of something I've had in Texas before.
So good.
So anyway,
good. I mean, who doesn't like a tater tot, right? Can you believe
Well,
your thoughts in my cookbook?
I don't, because it's potatoes, so I'll use sweet potato tater tots.
That's right. Hey, that's a good point, Courtney. Honestly, is all of these recipes, make them your own. If you don't like something, swap it out, right? There's so much. Let's see, crazy flavors. I don't know. It's not odd, but the green beans, I put brown butter and mint together. And you wouldn't think, you think that's kind of odd, like this nutty, buttery thing with mint. It's really delicious.
Oh, trust it. A little fresh mint, it's a different flavor than people think about. And it adds so much dimension to something like green beans. And then you have toasted nuts, which also enhances the nutty flavor. So this is on my list to make, Tara. I'm so excited. Is there one in here? We have a question. Is there one in here that would be good for like a big group? That would be easy to like maybe double or triple, or already has a lot to it?
Well, funny enough, I have an entire chapter on food for groups, like food that you can serve, a smallish group, a medium group, and it's called Meals for Gathering. So it's sort of in the middle of the book, and
how about this? Would that work?
Yeah, the giant. It's a 3-foot sub sandwich. Who doesn't want that in their lives? So, and I tell you how to make it so easy at home. There's lasagna for a crowd. There's ribs. There's Swedish meatballs that feed a crowd. So good. Yeah, there's definitely crowd favorites in there. And you made the carnitas the other night, I saw.
Yes, we have on social media, and that made a lot. I also love that, like, instead of just doing one roast chicken, throw 2 of them in your roasting pan, because you could even save that, like I do, for later in the week, so that you're not trying to make something every single night, but you are still having something homemade every night, and you can use things in different dishes.
And guess what? It freezes. The carnitas, you can freeze it and then reheat it.
Yes,
so
that's a
favorites in the Meals for Gathering chapter.
Okay.
Is one of my favorite recipes. It's the New York focaccia sandwich.
This looks, this is so cute how you wrapped it up.
Oh, it's just, that little cute for the picture, right? And you can wrap it up if you want. You knocked your camera over.
I knocked my computer stand over. No, we're still here. We're good. Okay.
That is definitely, it's inspired by a sandwich I ate in New York for the first time, and I had to recreate it. So now everyone can eat it.
Oh, you have me at oven roasted plum tomatoes.
So good.
I'm so into it. Okay. Here's a great question. When you are not cooking from scratch at home, what's your like go-to takeout?
Oh gosh. I would say Indian or Thai. I love those. Okay. Yeah.
Those are always good takeout ones, because I feel like they can transport, by the time Uber Eats gets to us.
Totally.
It's the good one. Okay. Do you have a favorite dessert?
A favorite dessert in general?
Well, if somebody assigned you dessert for a dinner party, what would be like the go-to?
Good question. I think right now, like I said, it changes all the time. Right now, it would probably be the triple chocolate cake in the cookbook. And I'm trying to find the picture of that for you guys.
Yeah, I just was there because I was drooling over that. And I love that you did piping. There's not like the additional, look at this, you guys.
We're both showing it. It's great.
Is that incredible? Oh my goodness. And there's
probably also, I have to say, I think my favorite food ever is chocolate chip cookies. So, I will take chocolate chip cookies everywhere. They travel.
Me too. And I love that you've got flaked sea salt on these ones.
Exactly.
Those look amazing. And semi-sweet chocolate. I'm like, this is why we're good together. We love all the things. Okay. I'm just checking on time because I know we hit our 1 hour mark. Do we have any more giveaways, Dee Dee, that we need to finish up with?
You know what? We do not. We're done with the giveaways. So
okay. All the giveaways.
Should I thank everyone for coming? And
I think so.
Yeah, I want to thank everyone for coming to the launch event for Live Life Deliciously. Courtney, I want to thank you. You were so terrific. I want everyone here to know they can find Courtney at cakebycourtney.com. And you can listen to your podcast from your website.
Yes. Yeah, the podcast is on all platforms now. And of course, you can find me on Instagram and all the socials, and cakebycourtney.com, and my products are on shop.cakebycourtney.
So everyone follow Cake by Courtney and follow Tara Teaspoon, of course. And congratulations, Tara, on this gorgeous cookbook filled with the most sumptuous recipes imaginable.
Thank you, Dee Dee. And thanks to everyone. Thanks to my friends that have showed up here, all my friends that have showed up online. You are awesome. Thanks for coming tonight. And thanks to everyone that has helped me with this cookbook, is a part of the cookbook. Courtney, thanks for being here with me tonight. It was such a pleasure. I love it. And I love it. My team behind the scenes also. There is a handful of people, and I know I'll forget a name if I name names, but you know who you are. And gosh, I am just so grateful for all the hands that have helped me get here, and for everyone buying the book and reviewing the book and supporting me in this fun adventure. So thank you so much.
All right, you guys, wherever you are, give Tara the biggest round of applause. Send her all the amazing messages.
Thank you.
Tara, love you. Thank you for everyone who came out tonight to join Tara and show her all your love and support. Enjoy the cookbook, you guys.
And Courtney, one last thing, you can buy the book online at Amazon, Deseret Book, Barnes & Noble, and it's in stores at Deseret Book. And thanks to my awesome publisher, Shadow Mountain, and getting it out there, it's available everywhere.
Yay, congratulations.
See ya.